Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely, and parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/Wondery.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Craving your next action-packed adventure? Audible delivers thrills of every kind on your command, like Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, where a lone astronaut must save humanity from extinction, narrated with stunning intensity by Ray Porter. From electrifying suspense and daring quest to spine-tingling horror and romance in far-off realms, unleash your adventurous side with gripping titles that'll keep you guessing. Discover exclusive Audible originals, hotly anticipated new releases, and must-listen bestsellers that hook you from the first minute. Because Audible knows there's no greater thrill than the one that speaks to you. Discover what lies beyond the edge of your seat. Start your free 30-day trial at audible.com/WonderyUS. That's audible.com/WonderyUS.
Previously on The Messenger, the Rachel cancer scam. You heard the daughter, formerly known as Madison, talk about what it was like to grow up with Rachel as a mom. And when she realized that Rachel has a mental illness and so much more. This interview is one of several that you'll hear during this season. I thought it was critical for you to hear from others, let them share their experiences. And certainly I can think of no better way than to have the daughter, formerly known as Madison, share hers with you first. What she shared through the entire interview was brutal truth. Hearing that Rachel kept family on both sides away is something that's shocking. But it probably shouldn't surprise you. It doesn't surprise me now, after all these months have passed. Rachel couldn't allow people in her life, or her daughter's lives, or Mark's life, that were onto her lies. It's a page out of the sociopath's playbook. They either deal with these people or just ice them out. Obviously, Rachel, as far as we know, not a real killer or is not violent. So she just kept everyone away that learned that she was a pathological liar. I watched Rachel lie myself in open court. I watched her say that she knew me, but she never really had a relationship with me. She did it without batting an eye. As you heard the daughter, formerly known as Madison, say, she's the most fantastic liar. She was robbed, that young girl, of part of her childhood when Rachel denied access to grandparents and family on both sides. As a matter of fact, all 4 of Rachel's daughters suffered the same type of treatment. What kind of person hides their children from her own family? I suppose it's the same woman that you've been hearing about for 14 episodes of this podcast. Let's get back to the interview with the daughter formerly known as Madison. Here's part 2.
I wasn't going to tell my dad because if I was wrong, I was ruining my family. At the time, I was like, my mom is definitely cheating. She's definitely cheating. And I was freaking out about it. I was like, do I call my dad? Do I tell my sisters? What do I do? And again, my mom is such a convincing liar and manipulator that she had just convinced me that, oh, he's just obsessed with me. He's in love with me. And I've told him that we're just going to be friends because it's too weird. I mean, he's just so obsessed with me. And at the time, I was like, okay, I guess this kind of makes sense. I mean, I had seen that she was your profile picture and that you had a bunch of posts about her. And I was like, okay, I guess that makes sense that you're obsessed with my mom. I mean, who isn't? I mean, she's a wonderful person.
As you're aware, I loved her with every fiber of my being. We've known each other. I've known her half her life, 23 years at this point, almost a quarter of a century. And, after much thought and consideration, I think we just decided it was time to be together. And I certainly loved her more than I'd ever loved anybody.
Prior to me finding the post, there were at least 2, I think he said 3 flower bouquets that were sent to our house. And the first one, I remember it being Valentine's Day. And she had put them on the counter and she had taken the card off. And she had told my dad that they were flowers from my now ex-boyfriend. And my dad was all frustrated because he didn't believe her, which is why she told the story that it was from my boyfriend at the time. She had told my sisters and I that it was from you, but it was just a way for you to rile up my dad because he wasn't doing enough for my mom, or that just to irritate him or frustrate.
The other thing is that I save everything, every single bit of everything from before that first, date in August of 2021 through the meeting with you and your sisters to where we are right now. Every single detail is documented. My podcast is based 100% on information that's in this phone that I'm talking to you on right now. Everything's been preserved. Everything's been backed up. Someone at some point wants to abstract that and look at my phone records to verify it. The notes from the doctor, all that stuff, all generated from your mom's phone. Every single bit of it is evidence. It's irrefutable evidence, and it helped me to build this story. It helped me with the accuracy of it. The texts are my irrefutable evidence. She's a master liar and master manipulator. One of the worst parts of your personal story is something that you shared with me almost in passing. You said that she actually blames you for the current state of the family, the breakup, the fracture of your family unit.
When you're hearing the story about her, when you listen to me believing these lies or you believing her lies, it's like, what an idiot. Like, who would believe that flowers that are so expensive and so beautiful sent multiple times are just a way to rile up your dad? Well, at the time, it was pretty believable. I mean, she is a magnificent liar. I cannot stress enough how easy it is to believe her. She is a fantastic liar. The best actress you will ever meet. I mean, it's outrageous how great she's lying and putting these together. I mean, you wouldn't believe it unless you felt it yourself. Didn't lie to yourself.
Before her affair and the cancer scam story was exposed, she was caught with Russ. This literally happened within 7 days, right? She got caught with Russ at his house on December 13th of 2023. And then 7 days later, on December 20th, a week later, that's when, my part of the story was exposed to you and your sisters. And Mark, your father, found out about that. Tell me about that.
So how that happened was, I was in college. I was in Pennsylvania for college at the time. And at this point, I had pretty much confirmed in my head, like, okay, my mom is cheating. There's no way that she's not. I mean, everything that she's done, she has to be cheating. And so I had told my sisters, either over Thanksgiving or Christmas break, like, reminded them, I think mom's a bad person because I think she's cheating on dad. Because we were in such a toxic family environment. I mean, my parents were always fighting and talked about divorce were happening. And I had told my sisters, like, if they're getting a divorce, I'm going to take dad's side. And they were like, why? Why would you take dad's side? Like, he's always fighting. He's always arguing. And I said, well, mom's not as good of a person as we think she is. I mean, she's cheating on dad. So I told all 3 of my sisters this. And I had gone back to school for college in January. And a week before my birthday, my 2 parents were supposed to come and see me for my birthday and take me to New York and such. My mom had called me and used an excuse to essentially make a really big deal out of stuff that I had done. So some context. I had been living with my boyfriend on the weekends, my ex-boyfriend now, on the weekends at his apartment instead of in the dorms. And she was really upset by that, and she essentially called me a slut, a whore, and such, for spending the weekends at his apartment. And she had told my dad, and he was livid because he's a dad, and no dad wants his daughter living in another guy's house, And she had used that excuse, that story, to then, after yelling at me for that, she decided, she decided to also say, also, I'm not cheating on your dad. How dare you tell your sisters that I'm cheating on him? I have never cheated on your dad. I would never do that. And now you're the reason that our whole family is falling apart. And she said, like, because you think that I'm cheating, our whole family is now so messed up, and you're destroying it and tearing apart all of our relationship, is essentially what she said. And she'll deny it now to this day. I mean, I brought it up to her at one point. I said I was carrying guilt for about a year, thinking that I was ruining our family because I had suspicions you were cheating. And she'll say, no, I never said that, as she does. I am the reason that our whole family is so toxic, because I had suspicions she was cheating. And, at the time, again, master manipulator, I had believed her. I had said, okay, I guess she's not,
I was on a call that afternoon with you and your dad and your three sisters, sharing my story and listening to yours. It was weird. I was part of this family meeting. So strange.
Well, after she had a fake suicide attempt, then she decided to seek forgiveness. I mean, she had pretended to try and kill herself by driving off the 41 in the middle of the night, and my dad and I had gone driving in the rain to go and rescue her because we genuinely thought she was drunk driving on the 41 about to kill herself, the same day that we had found all this stuff out. After that night, we had a family intervention where we all sat down and we all aired our grievances, and she said she was sorry. And, after that, everything was fine until I left for college, and we found more stuff out about my mom, and things just progressed until spring break, and she left after.
Okay. Did she tell you at all about what I had to say in terms of my version of my story?
We didn't really discuss it with my sisters. It was really between my dad and her. I mean, between my dad and I, and then separately my dad. I don't think we really told my sisters because that's a lot for them.
What did she say to you about it?
She said she's getting help and she's talking to a therapist, and there are some issues that she had to work through on her own too. But she had told my dad that she's sick, but she needs help. And so they went and got her a counselor. And she went to this counselor telling him that the reason she lies is because she was raped by her.
I'm familiar with that story, and it's another fake sexual assault story. And I can't and I won't include his name. I'll end up, beeping that out.
It's entirely fake. And she had been going to this counselor telling him over and over again, like, I've been raped, and that's why I lie, because I don't know, I'm some kind of. And a counselor's not gonna be like, I don't believe you. If someone says I've been raped, they're gonna treat you as if you've been raped. And no one can tell if she's lying about this. Well, it seems to me that the go-to lie that my mother does is that she has been abused, that she has been raped. Because nowadays, people believe everything, And as a woman, it's so common to get sexually assaulted, to get, in any way, shape, or form, to be assaulted by a man. That's her go-to response is to say, oh, I've been raped. I mean, she's even saying that about the people at her work, that she was raped by some.
I have to take his name out too. He doesn't deserve to have his name anywhere near this story unless he wants to come on, and I'll hide him. I'll hide his face. I'll mask his voice. He has a long-term relationship with a woman as well. So he cheated and Rachel cheated. It was consensual cheating. Thank God that she never tried any of those lies, the assault lies, any of that with me. I think, as you're probably aware, a man never recovers from a story of assaulting a woman. For your mom to say he drugged me and assaulted me and then I ended up in the hospital, a guy doesn't recover from that. Another gross lie. You all went on a family vacation in September of 2023 and you came home and found that 2 of your dogs had died suddenly. What are your thoughts on what happened around the loss of those dogs?
And that was something that my dad and I had discussed. At one point, when the dogs had died, we were all so confused because it had happened so suddenly, and only 2 of them had died. The one that was inside hadn't died. They ingested some kind of poison or something very quickly. One of them was very healthy, very young, had nothing wrong with him. The other was a bit older, but he also was very healthy. And when I had asked my mom what happened, she was like, well, your dad has a lot of enemies. You know, he gets in a lot of fights. I bet he was the one that, you know, got on someone's bad side and caused them to come kill our dogs. And now that we know all this stuff has gone through, and we know that my dad's not that kind of person, what if it was one of her ex-lovers that decided to say, screw you, you know, I loved you, you broke my heart, and killed our dogs?
Your father actually came right out and asked me at one point if I knew anything about it. And I said, listen, for as angry as I've ever been with you or at Rachel, I would never have killed your dogs. I'd have killed you before I'd kill one of your dogs. I'm an animal lover. I'm a dog person. I have a dog. It's a sick act.
That's a special kind of sick to kill a dog. I mean, we don't have any evidence.
The detective in me thinks, who would have the motivation to do something like that? What do you have to do to someone to cause them to be angry enough to want to kill your pets? I've taken a bunch of your valuable time, and I appreciate you being comfortable enough to share your story with me and with everyone that's listening to this. You're very brave to do this in public. Did I miss anything here? Is there anything that I didn't share or ask you about? I know at some point you're going to turn around and you're going to write a book and you're going to share your story in detail. And, you know, I can't wait for that. I can't wait to read your words.
Yeah, I'm going to end up writing something, especially from my perspective. I'm a very intuitive person. I know that for sure. My intuition has played a big part in my life, especially this year. I'm definitely going to write something about the mental health side of this. Watching someone that obviously has some kind of narcissism, pathological lying, I don't know, sociopathic tendencies. I have no idea. I'm definitely going to write something about that. It's really hard to explain how fantastic of a liar she is unless you were to meet her. Because as much as you look at her and you're like, she's really pretty for her age, and you talk to her, she's really smart, she's really intelligent, she's naturally flirty, she's really easy to bounce off conversation, like she's super confident, intelligent, smart, like she checked all the boxes for whatever program you're trying to run for. She is the best mom, the best parent, the best girlfriend, I mean, coworker, whatever. Everyone wants to be her friend, and yet she doesn't actually have that many friends, and I wonder why, because, you know, she lies. It's so difficult to comprehend how fantastic she is at lying until you meet her in person, and you realize that she's done all of this stuff while portraying the most perfect person.
At one point, you suggested to me that I have someone on to talk about the mental health issue at play to help, you know, raise awareness for this. I've reached out to a therapist I've known since, you know, I was a young man. I sent her the entire first season of the podcast and said, I want you to take a listen to this, and I want to have you come on and talk about the narcissist. And she wrote back, and she said that, you know, the story is stunning to hear. And she said, you know, I'll be happy to come and talk about the narcissist, but this behavior, this isn't just narcissism. It's sociopathic. It's pathological behavior. She actually warned me at one point that your mother could be dangerous, at a minimum with potential lies against me, I suspect is what she was talking about. She listened to all 12 of those episodes and said, you know, I'll come on the podcast, but I think you're still broken. I know you're still broken. You've been through a trauma and you have PTSD. And I would imagine that the same is probably true for you as well, and your dad and your sisters. Quite frankly, for anyone impacted by this, you know, your mom's mom, Sherry, you know, Mark's mother, Mark, everyone that's been touched by this is a victim in some way or a survivor in some way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I am so lucky to have had a good relationship with my therapist during all of this. I mean, she let me text her throughout the entire Christmas break when everything was happening, December. And after that, when I came back home back to Pennsylvania, I was in her office every day for a couple of months. I mean, I literally was in her office almost every lunch break in the morning. I mean, I am so grateful for her because she spent so much time working with me through.
Sure.
I mean, I had PTSD. I couldn't be in cars at night for a little bit because I'm fine talking about this. You can ask anyone. I am very open about my mental health. I genuinely had a hard time being in cars at night because we had driven in the rain looking for my mother, who we thought was about to drunk drive off of the 41, which is a very scary cliff. I mean, I had PTSD from that. I had a lot of anger issues. I had little spouts of anger where I would want to throw things. I would want to break things. I had a lot of issues. I am happily medicated now.
Listen, you're going to work through this stuff. You're going to get to the point that you can come off the medications because the pharmaceuticals, they're not good. I believe that you'll find your way through all of this. And I think that you sticking close to your dad through this is an incredible thing for you to have done. You refuse to allow your mom to manipulate and influence your decision in that. I never, ever would have imagined that I have a friendship with Mark. I never thought that would be a thing in my life. Anyway, what I would come to find out is that your dad's one of the most caring people that, you know, I've ever known. At one point, he actually said to me, he said, "You're a survivor. Don't forget that." And as I sit here talking to you today, I use his words to you too. You, the daughter formerly known as Madison, you are a survivor.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I did want to actually touch on that I had forgotten about. Like this podcast is so important, not only just to show what happens with people the lives of people that are affected by loved ones with narcissism and with mental health this bad, but it's also, I wanted to also point out that my dad is not a bad person. He's being blamed for child abuse, for domestic violence, she's telling everyone that he is a horrible person, but if you knew my dad, he is truly the most kind, generous, heartfelt person you will ever meet. So it's ridiculous to see all these things about how my mom is telling all of my family, all of my friends that he's abusing her and that he abuses my sisters. And
at this point, that's her only angle to get your sisters away from him, which is, you know, her goal. It's textbook parental alienation. That's the term. The only way to do that is to perpetuate these additional lies and, lies on top of lies. So this is a horrible play. It's like dealing a hand of cards from the bottom of the deck, right? It's dirty. And I feel horrible for your dad. As you're aware, I'm working to try to help him and provide evidence where we need to make sure that he's able to see your sisters and visit with them again. And so that they're in his life. This is a man that doesn't deserve to lose his kids. Her lies take up every episode of this podcast. The shit that she has put everyone through. Every single one of these episodes is about her lies. The shit that she has put people through. It's unfathomable. And I hate sharing these stories about what she's accusing him of because, I try and will continue to say, he's not that guy. These are just her lies. They're just so hurtful. What your mother is doing and what she's done to him and to you and your sisters and everyone, unforgivable. I'm going to make it my mission to expose her to every single person that I can, and to not just stay away from her, but to know who she is and what she is. Anyone that will listen, I will share that. So what's your one takeaway from all this for those following along?
If there's one thing you can learn from this kind of story, it's that don't trust everything you hear.
That's a great point. How does one trust again?
Question everything.
Your mother didn't just cheat on your father. She cheated on your entire family, every single person, everyone she cheated on. And knowing her for as long as I did, I have no idea what to even say or make of it. It's crazy. I do know, by the way, that I think I'm going to copyright the daughter formerly known as Madison. Thank you for sharing your story.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
What you've just heard in this interview is a devastating account of Rachel's manipulation, how it fractured the entire family. A handful of revelations stand out. The first, to me, is the cruel irony of Rachel using Madison as her stripper and escort prostitute name before giving it to her daughter. And then later, turning around and spinning it as it's some sort of a love story with Mark. I think it demonstrates the calculated way that she wove these fabrications, these lies into the identity of not only who she was, but the identity of her children. And what was, and I think is most shocking, is how Rachel systematically isolated the girls and continues to do it from both sides of the family. The maternal and paternal grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody. What she's done is effectively denied her daughters any existence of family throughout their entire childhood. These girls that are still with.
Find yourself looking for a new job or change in career? Monster.com is here to help. We are not only here to bring you job postings, but also AI interview prep and salary tools, expert career advice, and top-notch resume services. We've got everything you need to land your perfect job fit. Discover the magic of finding the ideal job with Monster.com. Your future starts now. Visit Monster.com today. Your next job opportunity is just a click away.